Hi, how are you? Today we are going to see some more subject about the Mattot MASSEI. We read some time back about the in English terms. It always comes to me the Indian terrains, terrains, whatever you call it. Whenever sometimes you pronounce it goes the. Well, anyways, um, we studied about Midianites and we had seen the spiritual concept of Midianites last time. But today I'm going to reveal one more beautiful story about the Midianite that we might have not noticed before. You know, in Numbers chapter 21 and 22nd, and also in Numbers 31st, it talks about the Balaam, Balak, Midianites, and Moses and all the other people. We knew very well about the Balaam and the Balak story. Balak approaches Balaam to go and prophesy against the Jewish people, those who were encamped against these Midianites. Midianites were threatened by these people because they knew very well about this God who took them out of Egypt in a powerful way, and they were now threatened, and now they want to get rid of these Jewish people. So they are approaching Balaam because the only way they can do it, they can go and get a prophecy against these Jewish people so that they will be defeated. So that's what Balak was approaching. But Balaam was telling so many things to Balak. Balaam says that you can never ever defeat the Jewish people in any way possible with your army or anyone. It is so difficult. And also Balaam told Balak about the 600 chariots men were defeated, were been drowned in the Egyptian. You think in the ocean, you think, Balak, that you can bring much more mighty men than those 600 chariots men against the Jewish people. And among all the other army people, Balaam was talking about 600 chariot men. Egypt was a strong country. Egypt was a powerful nation. Egypt had a variety of army types they had, and 600 chariot men is one part of it. Balaam was not talking about anything about other army at all. He was only attacking this one. He was only talking about the 600 army people. Why he should talk about that one? Why it was like that? And even it is like this because no country or no army under the sun can never go against the Jewish nation. They can never win the war physically, intellectually, scientifically, any way possible. They can never win Jewish nation because the Jewish nation was protected by Hashem the God, and he is protected. It is protected by God right now. So it is understood to everyone. It is so difficult to defeat Jewish nation. So the only way that you can defeat the nation is turn this nation against the God, so that God himself will punish the own nation. And it happened in the history. Several times Jewish people were chased out of the country. Several times the Jerusalem temple was being broken in twice. It was destructed thoroughly. The walls of Jerusalem was brought down completely to the floors just because of the Jewish people's disobedience, just because of they were doing against everything to God. So that's the only way that he can do it. So Balaam tells, and we know about the Balaam story about the donkey spoke and everything, and Balaam didn't obey about the Balak. But in 22nd chapter you will see something. And in 31st chapter of Numbers, Moses was so angry against his men, he told them, I told you to kill everybody. How come you can spare that all the women, because they killed the men, they killed the animals, they did every destruction possible to the Midianites, but they spared all the women. So Moses was angry at the time, and he told them, these were the women that they deceived, through Balaam. So Balaam did something to them. That's why the Rashis, the sages, the Torah books talks about the story behind this one. The story was, Balaam was advising Balak, listen Balak, the only way you can take over these people is just go and send some women into this Jewish camp. when he said about the women to the Jewish camp, sending them to the Jewish camp, we might think it is about the promiscuity of the Jewish people, the character. No, Jewish people, Jewish men knew very well about the promiscuity, and they were very aware of this, and so they knew what the sin will cost them. So they were not interested in those things, but they sent in Numbers chapter 22, if you read, Balak and sent a lot of women into the Jewish camp. Jewish people love to have the nice quality materials, especially the clothing. They would love to have nice linen clothing materials. So these Midianite women go there and pitch a tent, and they sell all these clothing. And also they'll put a board, something like a discount or something, discounted price. So if these Jewish women and Jewish people, when they go inside, they will take them inside that tent, and they will greet them in a sweet way possible, in a way that they will mesmerize them. They'll talk to them nicely. They'll say, "Oh, you are the wonderful customer. You are coming very often to us. You are a repeated customer. We love you, and we want to offer you the best deal possible, the discounted rate possible. Have something." If you go nowadays to Chennai or some other places, you may see they may offer you while you're purchasing coffee, tea, and something to drink like that. The same way, even when they were offering jug full of wine to them, so that they were drinking, and they were influenced by this alcohol, they were influenced by the drinks, and at one point, when they were totally mesmerized their minds, at one point they will introduce all the idols of the small idols, and ask them to obey or ask them to worship them. Even the Jewish men and women were refusing to do that one. They will try to convince them, and they convince them to work that. This was the thing that they were doing. This made God very angry. That's the problem. So Balaam was telling this idea, and also he said that he was talking about the 600 men, about the chariots. That's what the Balaam was given the idea. See, you cannot defeat the Jewish people with your mighty men or something like that. You think that you are much better than your 600 chariot men of Egypt? The chariot men represent, 600 chariot men represents the 600 godly power in that nation at the time. Egypt was very popular for their pagan worship. They had God for every power, every nature. They have every God for them. It is full of God-filled nation, pagan-filled nation. So the 600 chariot men was basically representing all the godly powers of the Egypt. They were chasing out these Jewish people, but God protected the Jewish people by sending the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. And they he brought all these 600 men into the ocean, and he covered them with the waters. So that's how God protected them. The same way here. Until today, the Jewish nation is been protected by God, His mighty hand. One thing in U.S. Academy, in Army Academy, they teach all the techniques of the wars which happened before. First World War, World War I, World War II, and all the battles of the Alexandrian battles, great Napoleon battles. Everything they knew, they teach all the techniques of the army techniques to the military trainees in the Army Academy. But they never teach the techniques of Israel army or Israel military techniques, because no one knew how they won the war. It's all won by God. God made them to win the war. Until today, it was a miraculous winning wars. All the wars, it was through God. So never teach. They could not able to teach. They could not able to find how they won the war. So there's no teachings of army technique of Israel today. So what I'm trying to tell you this one is, these are the God's people. God's people were protected all the time by God. You and me are the same thing. If we declare ourselves, if we see that we are the chosen people of God, we are the godly people, and we are protected by God. Nobody can come against us. No army, nothing can come against us except God. Because how we can come? If we disobey God, if we dishonor God, He is the only person who can come against us, like He was doing with the Jewish nation on those days. that's the problem, folks, because, nowadays we do not even know what we are doing. We don't even understand whether what the things what we're doing is right or wrong. See, the last Saturday I said that I was celebrating the Shavuot, the Pentecostal day, and no Pentecostal churches celebrate the Pentecostal day. What is the Pentecostal? Pentecostal was given, it was on the Mount Sinai. It was the Mount Sinai, the giving of the Torah, giving of the Word was the Pentecostal for the Jewish nation. At the time of receiving the Torah, the mountains were scattered, mountains were terrified. It was a dramatic scene on that mountain, lightning, thunder, wind, gusting wind, everything. The same thing happened in Acts of Apostles, chapter 2, the day wind was blowing, fire was coming down, and the word was given to them in a different languages, meaning the word should go to spread in a different places. That's the absolute bottom meaning for that one. There's nothing else. One time was given. That is the day of Pentecost, folks. And I don't know how these Pentecostal people, they miss it and they don't celebrate it. And I don't understand this. I don't understand this until today. Why they are not doing it. I don't. There's only one Pentecost. That's what it is. Nothing else, folks. Nothing else. Very serious on note. Pentecostal brothers may come against me, but that's a fact. I don't hate anybody, but sometimes we got deception. We are deceived by Satan's sweet things. Satan comes in the sweetest way possible. Make sure that Satan is doing everything right. He will make you to believe that's 100% correct. That's for the right thing. So my teaching today is not against any denomination or anything, but my teaching is that if you obey God, God will protect you in all the way possible. But we need to know how to obey God. Until unless if you don't know the Torah, until unless if you don't know the commandment, you don't know whether you're obeying rightly or not. That's the problem. You cannot take the word right. Because the whole book, the Bible, the Old Testament is the only thing, it all the way from top to bottom. It is not only the New Testament. New Testament is only based on the Old Testament. The Old Testament was the basics for everything. Jesus preached, the disciples preached the Old Testament. No, they never taught the New Testament books. So the Old Testament was the basics, and the New Testament, what it does is basically it endorses the Old Testament. It endorses everything what is in the Old Testament. That's what it is. So if you understand this point, if you know that you are the God's child, if you know that, I'm telling you, folks, God will protect you. Anything come against you, could be a nation or it could be anything. Satan can never bring anything unless he will trick us to go against our own God, so that he wants to fight our God against us. It happened in the Jewish people, and the temple was destructed twice because of the Jewish people's disobedience, because of the criticism, because of the fightings inside the in the Jewish camp. That's the destruction. Today we see all across India, all across the nation, in the churches fighting and bringing destruction to their own thing. Folks, it is about time. I'm telling, there is no more time left for us in this earth. Time is getting close. The 70th, nation parade, you have seen that one on the day. It is so close now. Any moment, anything could happen. We are already closer to the 3,000 of years ending. So it is now about any time. There is no more time wasted. We need to get into the right way possible. We need to get into the right things possible. We need to know what we are doing exactly. Do not get deceptive or or do not get deceived by any people. You have your Bible. Start reading. Understand what God is telling. If God is for us, who can stay against us? I'll come back with another Torah next time, folks. Be safe and Shavuot, happy Shavuot, and Shabbat Shalom. Bye.